I never thought I'd be sitting here telling this story, with tears in my eyes and my heart aching in ways I can't describe. Sometimes, life throws you into chaos not with a bang, but with a whisper you once made, one that went unheard. And for me, it was a simple plea to the man I loved most in this world. Take it easy, please. My name is Eliza, and this is the story of how my world went up in flames, literally and emotionally, because someone I loved, admired, and trusted ignored a warning that came from the deepest part of my soul. James was my husband. Strong, ambitious, driven to the bone. We met when I was working as a part-time nurse in a small clinic, and he came in after an accident on a construction site. His hand was bleeding, but he cracked jokes through the pain. I remember stitching him up, thinking, he's fearless, maybe too fearless. We fell in love quickly. The kind of love that sweeps you off your feet, fills your lungs, drowns you in laughter, and dares you to dream bigger. He was building his own construction firm from scratch. Every beam, every contract, every nail, he made it matter. I admired his passion, but even in those early days, I noticed how he never stopped. There were no breaks, no holidays. Just endless work, caffeine, and stubbornness. I'd tell him, "Your body's not made of steel, James." He would chuckle and reply, "Maybe not, but my will is." I should have pushed harder then. Maybe if I had, things wouldn't have gone the way they did. We got married 2 years after we met. Life was good. We had a little house in the suburbs, a dog named Rusty, and dreams that stretched all the way to the clouds. But even on our honeymoon, James couldn't stop checking his emails. I started to feel like I was married to his ambition, not the man himself. When I got pregnant with our first child, I thought it would change him. That maybe, just maybe, fatherhood would force him to slow down. But it didn't. If anything, it made him more determined to secure the future, as he put it. I still remember the night he came home with black soot on his face. "Small electrical fire," he said casually, tossing his helmet on the couch. Nothing I couldn't handle. I was 6 months pregnant, standing there barefoot in our kitchen, and I felt that strange cold worry crawl up my spine. I asked him, "What if next time it's not small? What if you don't walk away?" He kissed my forehead and said, "Then I'll walk faster." It was charming, maybe even romantic in a reckless way, but deep down I was scared. And that fear kept growing. Fast forward 3 years. Our daughter Lily was a toddler, running around with the kind of joy only children possess, unaware of how fragile the world really is. James had just won a massive contract, one that would make or break the company. He was over the moon. I was proud, but also nervous. He started working 18-hour days, sometimes sleeping in his truck at the site. He lost weight, his eyes were bloodshot, and his hands, those strong, beautiful hands, were always trembling from fatigue. I begged him, "Please, just take a break. Take it easy, James. You're burning out." He looked at me like I didn't understand his dream, like I was holding him back. "You don't get it, Eliza. This is the turning point. After this job, we can relax. I promise." But there's always another job. Another deadline. Another lie we tell ourselves to postpone living. One Thursday morning, I woke up alone. He hadn't come home. I tried calling, no answer. I drove to the site, something I rarely did, and what I saw broke me in a way I didn't know was possible. Fire trucks. Smoke. Sirens. Panic. His site was on fire. A propane tank had exploded near the temporary office unit where James was working late. They said it happened around 3:45 a.m. I couldn't breathe. I ran past the barricades, screaming his name. A firefighter held me back, his face heavy with unspoken words. "We pulled him out," he said, "but he's in critical condition." Those words, they shattered something inside me. For days, we sat by his hospital bed, Lily clinging to my arm, asking why Daddy looked like he was sleeping. His face was bandaged, his arms burned. The doctors weren't sure if he'd ever walk again, let alone return to work. And all I could think of was the night I warned. His face was bandaged, his arms burned. The doctors weren't sure if he'd ever walk again, let alone return to work. And all I could think of was the night I warned him. The night I whispered those words that still haunt me. "Take it easy." He didn't listen. And now everything, his body, his business, our peace, was up in flames. But that's not where the story ends. Pain has a way of peeling back the layers of who we think we are. James was never the same after the fire. Physically, he healed slowly. Emotionally, it was far worse. He cried when he saw his reflection for the first time. "I look like a ghost," he whispered. But to me, he was still the man I loved. The man who needed to learn that worth doesn't come from exhaustion. I helped him walk again, step by step. We lost the business. Insurance helped, but barely. Our house had to be sold. For a while, we lived in my sister's basement. But somewhere in that darkness, something unexpected grew between us. Real connection. James began to see Lily with new eyes, play with her, laugh without checking his phone. We'd sit under the stars at night and talk for hours. He started writing. Nothing big, just small reflections about life, regret, fire, and second chances. He titled his first entry, "She told me to take it easy." I cried when I read it. Months passed, then a year. We rebuilt, not our finances, but our lives. James started counseling other burnout workers. He talked about work-life balance, something he once mocked. He'd say, "If you burn the candle at both ends, you might not live long enough to see what the light was meant to show you." Today, he walks with a limp. But he walks. He still carries scars.
So do I.
But they remind us, not of tragedy, but of survival. Every time I tuck Lily in, I whisper, "Take it easy, baby." Because now I know those aren't just words. They are lifelines. If you're listening to this and you love someone who's running themselves into the ground, stop them. Hold them. Beg them. Because you don't want to be standing in front of flames, wishing your words had been louder. Sometimes the most loving thing you can say is, "Please slow down." And sometimes the most tragic thing is watching the one you love realize too late that you were right. This story, my story, is not just about fire. It's about warning signs. About love. About what happens when we confuse success with worth. It's about a woman who watched her world burn and still chose to stay. To rebuild. To forgive. And to remind others that ambition should never cost you the people who love you most. So, please, if someone tells you to take it easy, listen.